What's going on, everybody? Klaus here from Plant Based Seas and with John Venus.
What's up?
Look here. Let's just talk. Yeah. We got cameras up. Well, we love you too. Even if we're not looking at you, we're loving you too. Mate, so at VegFest, movement is sort of like really taking off.
Yeah.
Documentaries coming out, namely The Game Changers, executively produced by James Cameron, Novak Djokovic, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Have you seen it, and what's your take?
Yeah, I've seen it many times. I'm a big fan. I've been following the journey for I'd say 3 years now, 3.5 years. So it's been really amazing seeing, everything come to life and, all the funding that they were able to get eventually and all the athletes that they were able to, get involved. It's been amazing. This is what I'm about. Vegan fitness is what I do. So for me, it's like a mini dream come true for sure.
Yeah. So what are your favorite scenes? Any standout moments for you that inspired you, that kind of stick with you?
I would say that I think the highlight of the movie was definitely the blood samples with the meat burritos versus the plant-based burritos. I think that was a really good way of showing people, because they actually show the test tube with the plasma in the blood and how cloudy it was when you're eating meat, and that is like you can see the actual damage that meat does. And cholesterol or whatever. So I think that was the most powerful and my favorite scene in the whole movie, yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty powerful. They basically took people's blood, centrifuged it, and then compared meat eaters to somebody that just had, I think the plant-based was burrito or something, and you could actually see the difference. So so obviously since the film, there's been a lot of backlash and some vegan haters and naysayers and shock jocks like Joe Rogan. Was this kind of what you were expecting?
Yeah, and I'm expecting way more than is currently out now. I'm expecting everyone who is into fitness and bodybuilding to have an opinion on this. And it's only been out for a week or something, or even less.
Been a week or two on Netflix, a little bit more on Spotify.
Sure. Yeah, exactly. It's going to take off, and a lot of people have seen it, but they're quiet. They're keeping their opinions quiet. But the more popular it becomes, the more vocal people are about the movie, and the more people that go vegan because of that movie, the more people are going to speak up against it. So I'm expecting not only Joe Rogan to speak more about this, but I'm expecting other people to try to debunk it at a massive level, and I'm looking forward to that because I'm going to be ready for it.
Well, Joe Rogan, you mentioned Joe Rogan there. He said James Cameron, the executive producer, is on some weird vegan kick. So he's sort of implying that there's some kind of vegan agenda. I'm wondering whether you get that criticism yourself, you're only promoting plant-based because you've got some vegan agenda.
Yeah, so a lot of people think that if you're vegan, you make money or something. I have so many friends who are doing the exact same thing as me, but on a meat diet or promoting a traditional diet, and they make way more money than I ever did. And that is because the market is a lot smaller for vegan nutrition plans and these things and coaching. So I'm actually by not taking on meat eating clients, I'm sacrificing a lot. Not sacrificing, but I'm not making as much as other people. So the idea that being vegan will make you a millionaire or something does not make sense. I don't know anyone who's made a lot of money just for being vegan. That doesn't make any sense. And James Cameron, I've heard conspiracies he's doing it because he's starting his own pea protein farm or whatever. There are going to be so many conspiracies. And
well, Frank Tufano, sorry to cut you off, but he's one person that said the film is lies built on lies, and that it's just former athletes trying to take a paycheck. I spoke to James Wilkes, the producer. None of the people in it got paid, but it's just interesting, that kind of response.
Yeah, 100%. And I would never take advice from someone who does flies like this. So that's all you got to say.
So referring to, he's a YouTuber, and I guess he's a health advocate, and he mainly talks about nutrition, but I think you're referring to the recent videos where he tried to do tutorials on how to train.
Yeah, he was trying to teach people how to, really do bodybuilding in a new and way more efficient way, a very unusual way that no one has heard about. It's a secret way that only he knows, and it's supposed to, provide miracles, but doesn't seem to be working for him. Vegan Gains made a video about him, and he kept comparing his strength to other vegan girls, and all the vegan girls that he mentioned were way stronger. So I don't think we should take any advice, nutrition or training, from him. Yeah.
Well, one thing he did say, which I found funny, but also it could be relatively valid from outsider's perspective, is that a lot of people in the film obviously plant-based, but they're not performing at such a high level as they did before the film.
Oh, yes.
So do you give any credibility to that kind of idea?
Yeah, I actually do understand that point of view for sure, but you have to remember how small the vegan community is, like how few people are actually vegan. So of course, and this movie has been in production for like 6 years. So of course people are gonna get older and, gonna get injured. It happens to everyone. Like, why would you criticize a vegan diet to be bad just because a vegan athlete is injured when every other athlete who's on a meat diet is injured as well? It doesn't make any sense. But I do understand that, people want stars or athletes who are currently at the peak performance and, maintaining super high levels. I get that, but it's still early in the vegan movement, and we will see a lot more of that coming very, very soon, especially after this movie. Yeah,
definitely. I think it will be a game changer, right? But So another criticism is that people like Novak Djokovic are referred to as a result of the film as vegan or 100% plant-based. It's still not clear whether they have just a little bit of animal protein. Yeah. So the criticism is these sort of athletes, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Frank Stefano said he could never become Mr. Olympia on rice, tofu and lentils. Yeah. I mean, what's your kind of take on that? You seem to be doing all right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not Arnold, but I am 100% sure at some point we're going to see a Mr. Olympia or people competing at the top stages, levels of bodybuilding who are 100% vegan. This is, Kai Green has recently stated that he's going to experiment with a vegan diet, and I hope that he doesn't just eat lentils and greens, because that's not going to work for him. I hope that he realizes that, the macros and the calories have to match, and then he'll be able to, maintain his size and everything like that. So I hope he does it the right way. What I'm scared is people trying it, but trying it completely wrong. Like, just eating a raw vegan fruitarian diet without meeting the requirements for nutrients and calories. So that is the main thing. But at the end of the day, it's going to happen. We're still very, very, in the beginning stages, and especially in fitness, because, after this movie comes out, I'm 1 billion% sure some, good bodybuilder is gonna, turn plant-based. Yeah.
I reckon a lot of people are going to be invited into podcasts and mainstream shows. Like I reckon he'd be good on the Joe Rogan podcast. If you got invited, would he take up the offer?
I think I would get along with Joe so well, and I would be delighted to be on the podcast to discuss veganism, performance, fitness, health, all these things. I think that it'll be super interesting. So Joe, if you're watching, hit me up.
If you had one message to these haters and these kind of critics of films like What the Health and the Game Changers, what would it be?
That's a very good question, and I can very much relate to them, because I myself was a anti-vegan. I was a vegan hater. I was a big gym head meat eater that ate pounds and pounds of meat every single day. So I can relate. When my brother went vegan, I thought he was a crazy hippie or whatever, and I would prefer him saying that he became a drug addict or something like that, because I thought that veganism was so extreme and bad. But when you actually come from a place of understanding, you try to look at things from a neutral perspective without any biases and things that you've been taught before, then you realize that it's kind of black and white. If it's not necessary, then why do it? And if it's if you're getting enough calories, enough protein, enough macronutrients, then there is no difference. But I can understand why people are angry, why people are afraid, and they go into attack mode, because people feel very attached to the idea of eating meat, and people don't want to feel like they're doing something wrong or have bad consciousness going on. So I understand that. I was there myself. But I know if I can go vegan out of all people, I know that every single person on this planet can, because I was the #1 vegan hater on the world.
Yeah. What's interesting and what I like about your message is that it's always about how you do it correctly, because you often see people, you mentioned fruitarianism, but what other ways can people do it wrong, and what tips do you have for people to do it the right way? Yeah,
there are so many ways of doing a vegan diet. You can do it 1,000 different ways, right? So a vegan or plant-based diet doesn't mean anything. So you have to make sure that you're getting enough calories. That's one. A lot of people who fail or get issues on a plant-based diet don't meet their calorie requirements, which is the #1 thing. It's really hard to do that on a fruitarian diet or a raw vegan diet. That is why people don't recommend it. I don't have any clients on a raw vegan diet. And what else? I think a lot of people restrict fats or a certain macronutrient too much instead of having a balanced amount of everything, like you would find in Whole Foods. So I think it's just about eating a balanced diet. Now, I would also say that psychologically, I think that is the main reason why people fail. It's peer pressure, it's spouses, husbands, wives not supporting your efforts of being vegan and living this compassionate or healthy lifestyle, or friends making fun of you at work. These psychological issues that cause depression, anxiety, are the number one reason why people fail. And and
then they might attribute it to physiological things, or they didn't get enough protein, when actually what you're saying is maybe it's because they didn't see enough vegan options down the road, or their partner wasn't giving them the support, etc., etc.
Yeah, and not only that, but because of that emotional and psychological torment, you will feel physical symptoms. So you will you'll believe what you want to believe. So if you tell yourself a story that the vegan diet is killing you, that's what you're going to believe, and you're going to manifest those symptoms physically as well. So I believe that it's all a mental game. Not all, but if you get the calories, the fats, the food that you need, the macronutrients, which is not a hard thing to do at all if you're eating a balanced plant-based diet, it's all mental, it's all psychological. So for me, it's all about staying positive and being comfortable in your own skin and not being afraid of being judged. That's the main thing. If you can do that, then nothing can touch you. Yeah,
cool. It's really inspirational to hear. Just want to bring it back lastly to the topic of this video, the game changers. Just trying to be like a review of that. Yeah. Are there any other kind of standout moments? How would you describe it to people that have never seen it? And who do you think this film will reach that it really needs to?
Yeah, I think this film is for anyone who's a little bit skeptical towards a plant-based diet, for anyone who's into fitness, whether it's endurance training, strength training, powerlifting, bodybuilding. It's for anyone who wants to optimize their health and fitness and perform well. And I think the thing that stands out the most is that all of these athletes are, they're not even like at they're not like trying their very best. Some of them are, but some of them are just random people that went on a vegan diet, like myself and like Nimai, that turned vegan and saw amazing results and then felt obliged to share the message. So I think that once people realize that just switching your diet around and eating this way, if they realize how much it will benefit them, I think it's going to be a no-brainer for most people. Yeah.
It's one issue I see with athletes. I want to just entertain this idea of you. I've never thought of it before, but I think some athletes get to the highest level, go on a vegan diet, and then the performance might dip, not because they're being held back by the diet, but because they see the world in a different way. They become more spiritual. Can you relate to that in any way? Like the purpose you get from going on a sort of like plant-based diet in this lifestyle, does it hold back specific careers where you need to be pretty selfish with the way you train and the way,
It can go both ways. It can either push you further, or it can set you back. So some people might, for example, start thinking in a different way, more spiritual way, trying to remove their ego, look at things from a different way, and they might not feel the need to prove themselves to the world as much and train as hard. So in that case, the performance is going to go down because your top value is not to perform as hardly as you can or whatever. And then it can go the other way where you perform even better because you see as a mission to spread this positivity, this love, this compassion, and you feel an extra sense of fulfillment and responsibility to promote this message and keep going. So it can go both ways. It just depends how you interpret the message, how you react. If you're a sad, depressed, negative vegan, then you're probably not going to do well. But if you look at things from a positive perspective and you're just like almost enlightened and full of energy, then you're probably just going to shoot upwards. So it's individual. Yeah.
Completely agree. Do you have any closing remarks about the film and your own amazing platforms that you want to shout out? We'll link John's channel down below.
Yeah, I think everyone should watch The Game Changers. It's amazing, 10 out of 10. And of course, if you're interested in similar things to the documentary, there are a ton of influencers who do similar things like myself on YouTube and Instagram. So if you just search John Venus, there's a ton of information both on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. And please subscribe for more. See you very soon.